Last lesson, and again, as I said, myself, Brian, and Damien went to 3 different conferences with 3 different focuses. For me, my clients are in B2B and they're in, comms and telling larger stories, not really about shipping units. So I went to stuff that was focused on that, and the plan was for me to draw some sort of conclusion for those clients. And the conclusion I drew is that those sorts of clients are about to become weird old bald wrinkly men. They're not literally going to become Rupert Murdoch, but what they are going to become are publishers. So brands getting into the publishing space. If you think about all the digital technology that has removed the barriers to publishing, who here has a blog? Who puts stuff onto the web? We can all publish. So brands, and this is not necessarily new stuff, and this is what a lot of these conversations were about. This is not new intent, but the technology and the speed and the implications are all new. So what's the drawback or the blowback from all this sort of stuff? All right, we've all probably seen or even worked on a project or something that would classify as the brand as a publisher. The brand saying, hey, I'm going to put some content out there in some way, shape or form. We've all done that in the context of a campaign. What these panels were talking about, brands doing it in the context of a business unit. Setting up a division about content within their business, hiring people called chief content officers. And these panels were, manned by people from these sorts of organisations who all believe this is all absolutely happening. One panel tried to posit that 25% of traditional marketing spend was being channeled to some form of content or publishing activity. There was some debate about that. That was one of the, you can't see that, it's one of the panels. I got there 15 minutes before. I got one of the last seats, standing room only, and the panel said, just interest, who's here from blah, 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 who's here from blah, 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 who's here from agencies? 90% of people put their hands up. What's really interesting about when a business does this and starts thinking this way is, well, what happens to the ethics of what they're doing? How do you get authenticity into it? Do they, how do they structure? How do they resource for it? What sort of talent, what sort of skills are they looking for? What does it mean for the other traditional marketing channels that are within that mix in their organisations? How do we as agencies respond to that? If a client is to set up a content division and start spending money on content and publishing, do we think that money is going to come from net new funding? It's going to get taken from whichever piece of the marketing pie they think is currently underperforming or they're bored with. So the lesson there for agencies is, what do we do to respond to that shift? How do we learn to recognise those signals? How do we get ahead of it? How do we become the people that these brands and clients come to when they say, we're going to get into content, we're going to get into publishing. We want to know about authenticity, we want to know about the structure, we want to know about the skill sets, we want to know about codes and ethics, we want to know about how we set up a publishing mission charter. But that'll be a major shift for clients and a major opportunity for agencies.